Let's begin.
Well, these depredations against me, I'm surviving them, and
See, he said, I'm surviving.
Somehow illustrative.
I don't even think he says he's a victim. He said, I'm surviving them. I'm surviving them too. You Miss Beta motherfucking bitch.
And we know what we're gonna have to go through. You might as well.
See, he's bored.
Face up to it. You're becoming heroes, whether you like it or not.
He said we're becoming heroes whether we like it or not. No, and now we're just becoming insane. I'm not a hero, never wanted to be a hero, not interested in being a hero. I just want these bitches to leave me alone and give me back what they owe me, which is so much. Some shit is priceless.
We'll talk about
He's bored.
for their improvement maybe later. What happens? And in general, what happens to the people who go into Scientology? Why do they change so much? How does it happen? What is there about the human mind that most of us do not want to know that does make it possible for one of our children who has been thoroughly healthy in every way to be caught up in one of these groups and suddenly, or over a few months, simply lost to the parents and to the community. The change in these people tends to be very, very large.
The same way they change those that go into Scientology, they change those that they target. You know, those in Scientology, you know, they don't want to be around their family anymore, community anymore, that anymore. However, on the flip side, the way they target us, our family doesn't want to be around us anymore. Community doesn't want to be around us anymore. No one has your back. Not even the targeted individuals. They don't even have each other's back. They just talk shit. Oh, we need to come together. We need to come together. Stop that bullshit. Next time I listen to a targeted, I hear them say, oh, you know, the targeted individuals, we need to come together. I'm going to leave them a nice little message where it won't be so nice.
My two older kids got the drug, sex, and they led me a merry chase. But I knew that was just sort of added on and applied to them when my younger daughter, who was the nice one, behaving herself, went into the Divine Light mission. The change was integral. This is also true of the changes of people who go into the Church of Scientology. In fact, in some ways, the changes are even more complete. It's no wonder, for instance, that they tend not to like to have people in amongst them whose parents and family do not agree with their choice, if you want to call it choice, their PTSs, and often they do not allow them to stay in. It's much easier to bring about these changes and have it not noted, or them not noted, if the parents either don't give a damn or they sort of like the quiet, controlled people that have now stopped taking drugs and are very, very busy doing what they're supposed to do. But in fact, the human mind is capable of an enormous amount of change in a short time. It can, as I said, happen from natural forces. It's quite commonly seen in temporal lobe epilepsy. And sometimes I should also mention, just for your imagination to work on, that
Your imagination.
people with temporal lobe epilepsy are also characterized by their absolute need to write, constantly write, turn up the poetry, and they just write. Scriptomania. I'm not suggesting
I must have scriptomania.
Talked about today might have like that. It's very clear that some of these people who also go through various types of conversions do have those who go through these conversions naturally do have real changes in their brain structure. But you don't have
He used
That's
kid
why
too.
the late adolescents are the best marketplace for the cult in general. The process is quite fairly simple to bring them in. First, get their attention, entice them into some place where they can then be bombarded by information in a closed system where all the information is controlled and where that seduction can be set up. Over a period of time, and it can be very short, from minutes to weeks, the attention of the individual is very carefully narrowed, just narrowed. These various processes that are used in Scientology, for instance, are attention narrowing processes. It requires the individual to attend to only the task for a very, very long time. There is in this a great relationship to formal hypnosis. That's exactly the same.
Did you hear that? He mentioned the word hypnosis. And Scientology does have you doing things over and over and over for a very long time. And to me, that's a form of abuse. But you can't tell the Church of Scientology that they're going clear. Yeah. Clearing up me off the fucking streets.
And the object is to push the mind, the attention, into a narrower and narrower state until
Push the mind to a narrower and narrower state. That means your mind is they're taking over more and more and more of your mind.
something kind of breaks. The mind is a system that is highly flexible, but with any flexible system, there is a limit of elasticity. If you push it hard enough, you'll crack, snap.
Push hard enough, you'll snap, crackle, and pop. And that's what happened to a lot of the targets who killed themselves or may become homeless and then get out there and get on drugs. Snap, crackle, and pop, Rice Krispies.
Whatever you want to call. Any one of us, under certain circumstances of very high pressure, might find ourselves cracking one way or another. Then, if the person who has brought about this cracking, changing, this snapping, this thing, can manage that state for a time, can manage it and keep it under control. In other words, the person's old mind has been taken down under this heavy pressure, a kind of an emergency. If they can keep it under control long enough, the individual must then identify with those people who are managing the whole system. They identify with everything. They begin to take in information, the rules, the language, everything. It's like falling in love.
Everything. It's like falling in love. They take in everything, even organized gang stalking.
It's the same process, except that it's managed differently. That's why this is so mundane in one respect. Nothing about this that is really, really spooky. But if it is managed,
it's really, really spooky to me.
By very intense processes and by people who signal their intent
Bored. He's bored.
control.
They're not interested. They're bored.
This matter today. The individual, as I said, becomes, almost has all those other people. The only way to survive, for the mind to survive, is to become as much like the person who have begun to hold you as hostage.
The only way to survive is to become like your handler. That person becomes your handler. I'm going to, after this, I'm going to go to another video, and I'll show you a girl who got away from Scientology. She actually didn't want to just like because as a SP, But she got away, and the way she speaks, she lets you know they are families. She's very much interested. She's always interested if you pay attention to her.
Hostage taking, where the people who are with the hostage for a long time in a very ambiguous state, not knowing whether or not they're going to be killed or tortured or something. These people sometimes fall in love with the person.
And there's a name for that too. When you fall in love with someone that held you captive or prisoner, it's some kind of syndrome. I forget right now, but there's a word for that too. I'm surprised he doesn't say it, and he's the psychologist. They're the one who came up with it.
Held them hostage. Again, we're back to the fact that most of this is normal, but it is manipulated. It must be remembered that in almost all, in fact, really in all those organizations which are most dangerous,
He said, "Oh,
nobody is told in advance what is going to happen. There is no argument about the virtues of the organization and its belief system until after the change of the mind, the conversion.
the change of the mind,
It's whatever you want, a leap into another world.
a leap into another world." And when this shit started happening to me, it was like I had went into the Twilight Zone. And I used to watch the Twilight Zone a lot. Sometimes I still do, but I think I've seen them all so many times. Yeah, I was really into the Twilight Zone, especially as a child. When it came out, I was really into the Twilight Zone, and then I entered the motherfucker without even joining Scientology. I don't know why I feel like a defector from Scientology. And I never joined. I turned them down. Never said anything bad about them. But they still came after me.
Now, this means that these people who have gone that far are now in a different state of mind, essentially a separate personality, a dual personality.
A dual personality.
The first personality is put on hold.
And the first personality is put on hold.
It can be replicated.
My children talk about me like that. The 2.5 that are around me. Like I'll say something or the way I curse and stuff. Like when I first started cursing, my children was like, "Wow, what happened to him?" I had a grandbaby that went around and told everyone, "That's not my granny. That's not my granny." Yeah, I had to put that first personality away because it was just too humble, charitable, and caring. And I would say gullible, and in a hypnotic trance.
It's been done by hypnosis.
It's done by hypnosis. Mine was not done by hypnosis. Mine was done by choice. But this is what I'm saying. The Scientology, those that go in and they go through all these programs, and you either volunteer to take the programs or you pay a lot, you're just under hypnosis. That's how come they could get the girl to come after me with a handheld microwave weapon. And I'm sure I know Farrakhan Center. Because you are not supposed to say anything about Farrakhan. Especially to play around with a Khan artist named Farrakhan. Well, now Farrakhan is out of the closet. Many know he is a part of the Church of Scientology. However, I know Farrakhan has always been a part of the Church of Scientology, probably born and raised there, then sent out amongst the minister to do whatever the fuck he did, and then to have Malcolm X killed and get away with it. No, you have to be a part of Church of Scientology. Church of Scientology is the only ones that can do what the fuck they do and get away with it. The police who are killing us, they're a part of the Church of Scientology. This is how they get away with it. Those who are having sex with little children, having them to cut off a baby's head and to cook the baby and eat the baby and have the children drink the blood and then take these children, because they talked about it, take these children from the mom and give it to the one that has them doing these things? Church of Scientology.
Has to be managed.
Everyone's afraid of them.
More processes, so that the whole thing sort of gels. And
Then you have to have more and more and more processes, so the whole thing can be done,
they cannot get out.
and you cannot get out.
It's easier for them to stay in if they are kept with their own people, so they don't have a chance to.
This guy here, he looks like he doesn't like the fact that the man is giving out all Scientology secrets, because he's Scientology too. That's how come 1982 up until now, was that 30 fucking years ago? That's how come Scientology is still around. The government could have stopped Scientology if they wanted to. Shit, they stopped me. They stopped Yahweh Ben Yahweh. They stopped Malcolm X. They stopped Elijah Muhammad, the minister. They stopped Haile Selassie. They stopped Mumia. They stopped Winnie Mandela. They stopped who they want to stop. But Scientology, it gets to keep going, man. Motherfuckers are scared of your bitch ass.
Sort of talk it out with people from the outside. And this is what happened.
Bored.
In this state, these various kinds of cults become the most dangerous of all people.
He said these various type of cults, he's talking about Scientology, can become the most dangerous of all people. But now listen to what he says.
That is, they take on, as a mass, the we-they psychology. That is, we exist and we're real. They're all of you, you don't understand us. And because they're so focused and cannot remember any of the tenderness of their earlier times, toward parents or friends or others, they are extremely intolerant. Extremely intolerant.
They are intolerant.
They're the edge of paranoia in their simplicity of thinking and are easily pushed, well, they're totally pushed around by the leaders.
He said they're totally pushed around by the leaders. They're totally pushed around by the handlers.
Means that within 2 weeks, individuals who have first testimonies have signed checks for $150,000 to go for money. You see, it isn't just the Church of Scientology that can get a lot of money out of people in a hurry. In these groups, in almost every case, it's almost a real rule. The people who run them are living still. They're the living leaders, charismatic individuals who have found out how to manipulate other people's minds.
So they found out how to manipulate other people's minds. So what they do is draw you into Scientology, manipulate your mind, then put your ass out on the street to fuck other people's brain cells up.
It's very hard for most cults to continue to go on. Probably 99.9% of them die within one generation for one reason, for very good reasons, often because
Not Scientology.
Go along with it.
He said they die out. That's true. When they killed Marcus Garvey, I feel like they killed him. It died out. Malcolm X, it died out. The Black Panthers, it died out. Yahweh Ben Yahweh, it died out. In York, it died out. No, some would say Yahweh Ben Yahweh in York, they were cults. No, they were not. No, they were not. But they, a lot refused to call Scientology a cult. But I ain't call Scientology. I think it's OCCULT. They are an occult. Not just a cult. A cult is short for culture. Their culture is occultic-like, demonic-like. to rinse someone's brain away, and then to handle them and have them under some form of blackmail because you have shit on them that they dumbass told you? Well, you wasn't getting all that shit out of me, and you know you wasn't getting all that shit out of me.
They are in this state, the we-they state, entirely
We-they.
non-charitable.
The we-they state, well,
They do not see others as valid. They're not real.
they do not see me as valid, and I am not real.
In the case of the Church of Scientology, those who have gone far enough through their processing do not believe that it is important to be human beings. They are something else, and those of us who are
He said they are something else.
have no regard for them. Our lives are of no importance whatsoever.
Did you hear that? Our lives are not important whatsoever. It has no importance whatsoever to them.
It's something else. Perhaps you could end up getting into their religious belief, but sometimes you have to know something about the nature of belief in order to understand behavior, especially if it's as egregious as that which we're talking about today.
I'm going to cut this off, 21 minutes in, and shit talk Allah he wrote.